Hello everybody, just a quick unboxing for today. Something interesting just came in the mail and is none other than the Block Mania reprint by Rebellion Games. This is really quite an unexpected surprise. If you're aware, the original game came out in 1987 by Games Workshop, designed by none other than the well-known Richard Hallowell, who has some famous design credits to his name. He's one of the original designers on Warhammer Fantasy Battle, the first two editions, and was the original designer of Space Hulk, which of course also has quite a strong following to this day. This game is kind of hard to find in its original form. It's quite expensive online and often in not very good nick, so it's really quite an unexpected surprise to be able to buy a reprint. Just came out with little in the way of announcement. I believe I did see that they are somewhat limited in their production, so if you're interested, I would grab one now rather than later. So what is this board game about? It is based on the Judge Dredd comic book. You can see that down here in the corner. The series, the event in the Judge Dredd comic book known as Block Mania, in which all of the mega blocks, these gigantic city towers of thousands and thousands of inhabitants, they are infected with a poisonous gas that drives everyone mad, and the different block towers start to do war with one another, and the whole of Mega City 1 is just turned upside down. So this is a little quick game to replay those events, and let's take a quick look. We're just going to look at the front, the back, and go through the components a bit. So the back, you can see everything that's going to come. See if we get it in the camera. Come in the box. You have these two separate boards. These are two boards, each representing a block tower with, again, thousands of inhabitants. And all the spaces in the block tower you can move across. It comes with decks of cards, a rule book, and a blocker's manual. It also comes with dice, and of course all the lovely counters. Sorry for the glare. So let's get this open. This just came in. I just pulled off the shrink, so it's still quite stiff to open. So right off the bat, we have the rule book. It's not very long. It'll teach you all the rules to the game. About 18 pages, 19 pages or so. And if you can tell, it's actually pretty much a straight reprint of the original rule book. I'll show the table of contents so you get a sense of what's in here. Okay, there we go. Sorry. Yeah, so you have component summary play, setting up, turn sequence, command phase, which is basically the phase of the game, moving, defensive fire, combat fire, demolition, end phase, mania cards, and end game. So rules are very clearly printed on this kind of lovely monochrome navy blue almost color. A good number of examples, as you can see, and call out kind of boxes. There's an example. Art is all from the comic book. Sorry, there we go. And yeah, pretty straightforward. And so what you do during the game essentially is you have each player takes a single block. There are only two. Again, there's only two blocks contained in the main game, and then the expansion has two more blocks. Each block is similar but different. They have kind of unique layouts, and while I'm not sure one block necessarily has an advantage over the other, they do sort of have different strategies to play. The blocker's manual is quite brilliant. This is probably what you're going to have out usually in the game. On the back, it has rule summary, and it just lays flat nicely next to the game while you play. And inside is basically a description of all the individual tokens. So you have all sorts of different, what are called blockers, which mean inhabitants of your city block. And you have city defense right there. They are sort of like basic militia, if you will. You have the Crocs, which are kind of older people, gangs of older people, of course. You have the Fatties, which they're a group of professional eaters, basically eating competition celebrities, and they roam around as their own sort of gang. You have the Footsies. Footsie is basically a lone psychopath that's just kind of wandering on his own. Kind of a cool little unit in the game because he's not exactly loyal to your side. The opponent can do things with your footsie just as much as you can, and vice versa. You can move their footsies around to in their block to cause trouble. And we have Jews, which are your basic youth. Mobs, which are just angry civilians, basically. And Spugs. Spugs are just gangers, I believe. The meanest and most unruly of the Jews. So these are actual like gang members. You have superheroes, perhaps sort of delusional individuals who think of themselves as do-gooders. You have vigilantes, which are basically mobs of civilians, but with a purpose. They are out to enforce sort of a street justice. And those are all the blocker types. Every block has the same sort of units, and I believe the same number of units too. So it doesn't vary in that sense. The armory counters are your basic weaponry. So you have demo charges, which are useful for bringing down the enemy's block. You have flamers, missile defense lasers, missile launchers, and so on to just create absolute havoc. And finally, the last token type that you play with is the hardware, which is you can see at the bottom there and the rest of the page. That's just tools for doing various things, and you can do things like use spray paint to tag your enemy's block and get some points that way. You can use all sorts of different things. Power boards are basically like skateboards, hover skateboards of sorts. You can fly around with those. And so you can give each of your gangs, groups of blockers can get some of these weapons and equipment items. Some of them start with certain items. Some of them you can go and loot your own block or the other person's block and get them. The rest of the description in the book is basically what each section of the block does, and then the cards. So we'll explain the cards. Next are the counters. There are 3 sheets of counters. I believe there are originally 2, so it looks like they space these out to have an amount of bleed around each counter, so for printing reasons, no doubt. These are actually quite big. They're about the size of an American or Canadian quarter. Get a ruler very quickly. Yeah, they're over an inch. Oh no, they're just about an inch. They're 1 inch by 1 inch wide, 25 millimeters for friends in metric countries. The smaller tokens are things like fire or collapse tokens, which you will rack up as you end up destroying the opponent's or possibly your own block by accident. The fire and the collapse tokens, they both double up on the back as structural damage tokens, and this is what you tend to accumulate in the game before your block goes down. You'll have a lot. You need a lot of these, so that's why the fire tokens have that on the back as well. They can serve double duty a bit, and you also have sort of the more mercenary type units that skulk around the halls of the blocks. You have the Clegs, vile lizardmen. The print quality is really excellent. They're quite thick. They're quite bright, colorful, and yeah, looks great. Nice glossy, semi-gloss finish. So, the boards themselves are next. Lovely kind of, just like the originals, they have this really nice rounded edges. I don't know why I like that, but it's good for the life of the board, of course, so it doesn't peel up on the corner as easily, but it also just kind of looks nice. They're also quite thick. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but very thick boards. Again, nice, more matte finish. Nice 1-inch square spaces, so these are quite big. And what you see on the board is basically the name of your block. Every block is named after a different sort of celebrity figure. I'll let you figure out who Sammy Fox was. And then there are different spaces, and this is where your units go during the game. You roll for command points every turn, or you can, it's a little bit variable, so if you want you can set it as a more average number, but you by the book I believe you roll for how many command points you get, and you use those command points to move your guys around different spaces. Now they can move on blue spaces, just cost them a certain amount of movement. The green spaces, however, are civic areas, so those are things like open promenades, big open areas inside of the block. And they're a little faster to move between there. You also see these lifts that help people go up and down more quickly. All sorts of shops and things. There's a shopping mall which you can loot for certain items, armory, and different things you can deal damage to as well. The bank, the powerhouse. Now, as you can see, each block is slightly different. This one has a powerhouse in the basement, as you see, but if you put it next to this board, this one doesn't have its powerhouse are on the first floor right there. And as you play the game, you basically line them up, and you can cross either on at ground level or across these different bridges. Some of them are for vehicles. Use the vehicle parks to get a car and drive across very quickly. You can also walk across the various kind of bridges as well, the bridges higher up. And yeah, it's quite an interesting game. Finally, we have 2 dice. I'll probably replace these with nice big red dice. I don't know, something about early Games Workshop games like the color red, so that'd be appropriate. You get a deck of cards, which are on the back of them, I believe, are the judge cards, which you use when the game closes in at the end. The judges come in and basically put a violent stop to all the conflict. And on the other side are the actual Block Mania cards that you draw to see what happens. You also get lots of nice baggies for your tokens, and that's it. The rest is just sort of it's just empty, just to hold things up. Yeah, so that's just a quick unboxing. I hope to do a Let's Play of this in the future, and we'll see how it plays. I've only watched videos of it. I've never actually got a chance to own a copy because they are hard to find, but this is, if you're ever interested in this game, this is a great time to get it while they're still in stock. And there are some excellent Let's Plays on YouTube that I'll put a few links in the description of some recommended videos on this game, and hopefully I'll put out my own Let's Play soon and give you my actual play thoughts. Alright, that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed that, and if you have any questions about the game or about the components, please do comment and let us know what you think. Alright, take care.